Deep inside a grand, shadowy castle, the evil queen stands before her magic mirror. With a voice like rolling thunder, the mirror speaks. Snow White is the fairest of them all. The queen's eyes narrow. Her jealousy burns like fire. She will not allow anyone to be fairer than she. Determined to stay the most beautiful, the queen calls for her huntsman. "Take Snow White into the deep forest," she commands, her voice cold as ice, "and make sure she never returns." The huntsman bows, but inside, his heart is heavy. Unaware of the danger ahead, Snow White happily walks through the forest. Birds chirp sweetly, a deer nuzzles her hand, and the sun shines warmly. "Oh, what a beautiful day," she sings, twirling in delight. But soon, deep in the woods, the huntsman stands behind her, his dagger raised. His hands shake, his heart pounds. I can't do this," he gasps, dropping his weapon. With pleading eyes, he turns to Snow White. "Run! Run far away and never return!" Terrified, Snow White runs into the dark forest. Shadows twist, branches claw, and glowing eyes peer from the darkness. She stumbles, falls, tears well up in her eyes. But then, the night grows calm. The danger fades away. As the morning light breaks, tiny forest creatures gather around her. A rabbit nudges her gently. A bird sings a soothing song. Snow White wipes her tears. "Oh, you're all so kind, but where will I go now?" Following the animals, Snow White reaches a tiny, charming cottage hidden in the woods. She peeks through the window. Oh my! Who could live here? Inside, the house is small and cozy, but oh so messy. Dishes pile up, dust covers the floor, and cobwebs cling to the ceiling. Snow White giggles. Whoever lives here must be very untidy. Rolling up her sleeves, she begins to clean. After tidying up, Snow White yawns. The little beds look so inviting. "I'll just rest for a moment," she whispers, curling up and drifting into a peaceful sleep. That evening, the sound of marching feet fills the air. 7 little dwarfs, singing merrily, make their way home through the woods. They open the door and freeze. "Someone's been in our house," Doc exclaims. Grumpy folds his arms. "And someone's been sleeping in my bed." Suddenly, Snow White stirs. She opens her eyes and gasps. Snow White tells her story, and the dwarfs listen closely. Doc strokes his beard and nods. "Then you shall stay with us," he declares. The dwarfs cheer. Their home will never feel lonely again. Back at the castle, the queen consults her mirror once more. "Snow White still lives," the mirror announces. The queen's face twists with rage. "Then I shall take care of her myself." Using dark magic, the queen transforms. Her beauty fades, her back bends, her fingers curl into claws. She grabs a basket of apples and, with a wicked grin, sets off toward the little cottage. Outside, Snow White sweeps the porch. A hunched old woman appears, holding a basket of gleaming red apples. "My dear, would you like a juicy apple?" she asks sweetly. Snow White smiles. "Oh, thank you, it looks delicious." Snow White takes a bite and gasps. A strange dizziness washes over her. "Oh, I feel so sleepy," she murmurs. The apple slips from her fingers. She falls, silent and still. The dwarfs return, only to find Snow White lying lifeless. "It's the queen's doing," Grumpy growls. "After her." Through the storm, they chase her to a steep, rocky cliff. Lightning cracks across the sky. The queen stands at the cliff's edge, nowhere to run. Suddenly, crash! A bolt of lightning strikes. The queen lets out a scream as she tumbles into the darkness below. Heartbroken, the dwarfs place Snow White in a glass coffin. The forest falls silent. Time passes. But hope is not lost. One day, a handsome prince rides through the forest. He sees the beautiful maiden sleeping inside the glass coffin. Moved by her beauty, he kneels and gently kisses her forehead. Suddenly, Snow White's eyes flutter open. She takes a deep breath, and the dwarfs gasp in wonder. "She's awake! She's alive!" they cheer. With joy in her heart, Snow White takes the prince's hand. She turns to her dear friends, the dwarfs, and smiles. "I will never forget you all," she promises. And so, Snow White and the prince ride toward a bright new future, where they will live happily ever after.